And to your point, Aaron, Rothrock has thrown over 219 innings this year. The rest of the staff, 158.
You see the rise ball there. She can throw that on a couple different levels. Actually has a goal of adding a third level to that ladder, trying to continue to chip away at some locations of that pitch. She can hum it up to 72 miles an hour. And we asked her teammates, what makes Rothrock so devastating in the circle? Skylar Wallace was pretty honest with us that I don't like standing in against Rothrock. She's pretty tough to face in practice. You're already starting to see the dominance in the circle.
But a leadoff walk drawn by Emily Hott on 4 pitches. And that passes the bat to Presley Pylon. Second-year LSU transfer. One of 21 returners for this Baylor Bears program here in 2024. Made it to the regional round last year. And a Baylor team that head coach Glenn Moore told us he felt like coming into the season was a top 5 team, at least talent-wise, that he's ever had in over 20 years as the head coach in Waco. But then the injury bug bit this Baylor team, losing multiple starters, including their ace from a season ago, Dariana Orm. They're starting shortstop Amber Tovin. They're starting center fielder. They lost Leah Cran to a season-ending ACL injury. This is a team that has been through it, been through the fire, in the words of Glenn Moore. The 1-2.
You know, it's pretty incredible. You look at their entire body of work. The struggle they had towards the beginning and the middle of season, hit a couple bumps in the road. You mentioned the injury bug that they were infected with early, trying to just get healed, trying to fire truly to their capacity. And he said this team never gave up, truly. Like, there was no white flag that was ever waved. They continued to work. They loved on each other. They really bought in as a team, and the adversity that we went through is what allowed us to come through in that if game against UL. There's a response from Rothrock. This is a screwball that bites away from Pylon. It's a really nice location. You can see the upper body has to try and fall into that zone to even get a piece of that pitch. But the comparisons are very uncanny. I mean, truly, the whole body of work from their season. And then you look at what happens against UL. They're in Lafayette, which, by the way, Matt, is a hostile environment.
No doubt.
To play in.
Yeah.
Very. And the run rules, right? The punches that were thrown back and forth between these two teams. Baylor beats UL 8-0, a run rule. Then Louisiana turns around, run rules Baylor 13-0, and then it's a 1-run ball game for the finish. That is the roller coaster that Baylor has been on this entire season. And I asked Glenn Moore that. He said, I don't think without that experience in this season that we come out of Lafayette as winners.
Upsetting a national seed to get to this point. And in 3 of Glenn Moore's previous trips to the Women's College World Series, they have had to win a super on the road. Did it in 2017 against a top 5 Arizona team. And strike 1 to Shaylin Govan.
A lot of their success came from way of junior Govan, who steps in.
Second-year transfer from Stephen F. Austin.
This is another athlete I really enjoyed getting to know just a little bit more. The numbers speak for themselves, but Matt, you and I can speak to how interesting it is to speak to these young women on a human level of just what it's like to suit up, to compete, especially at this point in the year. Govan actually having battled an injury earlier in her career due to a swing in the box. A leg injury, and she said, I really had to commit to the mental game. Actually works with a sports psychologist to get herself right, to get the mind right.
Working a good at bat here against Keegan Rothrock, who only walked one batter in the regional. Walked the leadoff batter here, and Emily Hott. She stands at first with one down. 3-2 goes off the glove of Wallace into center, and then running into Hott is Wallace, but the ball is bobbled by Kendra Falby. And so runners at the corners, a lot going on with that play. Bad hop catches Wallace at short. She then runs into Emily Hott trying to round to go to third. All runners are safe, and now the umpires are going to get together on this.
There's a lot to unpack here. This is a high chopper off the heel of Wallace. Already rare, right? You never see Wallace misplay a chop like that. The other thing is that you notice she never turns to look at the runner standing in the middle of the base path, and you got to tip your cap to Emily Hott, who knows if I make contact, I get another 60 feet. This is high IQ base running. And I think a moment where Skylar Wallace just maybe loses her body in space.
This is a Florida defense that for much of the year has been #1 in the country in defensive runs saved. And Skylar Wallace, of course, a terrific defender at shortstop.
One of the best in the nation.
So runners at the corners for the cleanup hitter and starting pitcher this afternoon for the Baylor Bears, Aaliyah Binford. Opportunity for Baylor to strike early here in Gainesville.
They award that as a single to Govan,
who's now batting .600 in the postseason.
The ball was hit hard.
It was. Go ahead run at third base after Emily Hott drew a leadoff walk against Keegan Rothrock. Binford peaking at the plate. Hits in 9 of her last 11 games. Average up over 50 points since late April. Remember, Florida only gave up 2 runs in their 3 regional wins right here in Gainesville last weekend to get to their 15th Super. The 0-2 from Rothrock. Chelsea Dobbins, the Florida pitching coach, looking on as this is drilled into right field, and Baylor takes the lead on a 1-out RBI single by Aaliyah Binford. 20th RBI on the year for Aaliyah Binford and helping herself out.
Early pressure right now that Baylor is applying to a very good freshman arm in the circle for Florida. And we haven't gotten into it yet, but the success that Baylor has had as the quote-unquote underdog in super regional play, Matt. How Baylor has been able to work themselves the last time in 2017 to the Women's College World Series is upsetting the host. This is a team and a program that has so much experience doing this.
Caroline Rowett comes into pinch run for Govan at second base. Sana Watson, the starting right fielder for the Bears, at the plate. 2 on, 1 out. And a 1-run lead early here for Baylor. Jocelyn Erickson behind the plate for the Gators. One of the best catchers in the business this year.
This is a Baylor team, too, a 6-6 all-time record against Florida, a 3-2 record against Florida in Gainesville.
Hey, Glenn Moore told us, look, a lot of people probably have us losing 2 games in a row to Florida and
we
getting
get it.
run out of Gainesville. We understand.
We get it. But guess what? They're going to have to be perfect in order to take 2 from us.
Ooh, that just missed to Anna Watson. Crowd didn't like it. Now 1-2.
Yeah, you hear it in the crowd, too. Right now, Rothrock just trying to settle into the strike zone. This is an off-speed pitch on the outer half of the plate. I think this is the right call. It's about a ball off of the strike zone in the river. I'm not taking it with 2 strikes, though. I can tell you that.
Down goes Watson. Second strikeout of the inning for Keegan Rothrock.
It's a good adjustment. She goes back to the same location. This time she elevates. This is a low rise, high 60s, let her high, gets the swing through. That's the second strikeout she's had against lefties on the exact same pitch.
And now 2 down, but still threatening with Sydney Cavazos at the plate. Can catch, can play third base, and can hit anywhere in the lineup.
This is one of the spicier starters on this Baylor offense. I've read a lot about her personality. We didn't get a chance to talk to her in interviews, but I picked it up. I picked it up in reading about Cavazos. It's a senior, 3 home runs. So she roomed with Riley Crandell, who we will likely see in the circle for Baylor this weekend. And Crandell said, look, we were roommates last weekend, and she kept telling me, I'm going to hit a bomb. I'm going to hit a bomb this weekend. And she did. She came home or came back into the hotel room after that game and said, I told you, Riley, I told you I was going to go bomb today. She's just an unapologetic personality. Not afraid to call it like she sees it, and I think that this is something the team rallies behind.
Hit that bomb in Game 7.
That's what I was just going to say. Went 2 for 2 with a home run in that final game against Louisiana, and it tied the game up.
Full count to Cavazos. Rowan at second base, Binford at first. A pair of singles in the inning and a walk to lead it off by Emily Hott, who has come around to score already. This is flared into left field and down for a base hit. And with 2 outs, Baylor loads the bases for Zadie LaValle.
This is elevated up in the zone as well. You're seeing Baylor really barrel up Rothrock pretty solidly right now through the first.
33 pitches for Rothrock in the first inning.
You know, and it's not that these are bad locations. It's just that they're not as competitively placed as what we've seen from Keegan. We've seen her nibble at the corners. That's I think the challenge of the first inning for both arms is early in the game trying to understand what the strike zone is. What am I going to get away with? Where can I live and get the call? And I think that pitch has been dominant specifically against lefties. You've seen Baylor swing at that screw rise location. It's up and away. They've been biting specifically with 2 strikes.
0-2. Well, Rothrock has just been so dominant over the last month of the season. During this 11-game win streak, a 1.59 ERA, pitching 46 of the team's 59 innings. Just missed there. Levels the count at 2 apiece. And in the regional, nearly flawless and exceptionally efficient, only 183 pitches in 3 outings. Fly ball to left field. Corby Otis is there, and so the base is loaded for Baylor, unable to
back. She really dug into the connection of her teammates. She really dug into the focus of team, of Gator softball, and things have really started to open up for her at the plate.
Well, at the top of the order, Kendra Falby, not only all defensive team SEC, but all SEC first team as well, has hit nearly 400. Laces this into left, and Emily Hott is there, 1 down. Florida outscored regional opponents 24-2. They did trail in one of those games against South Alabama, 1-0. Ended up going on to win that 9-1. Here is Corby Otis, bases clear, 1 away. And that caught a piece of Otis, and she will go right up to first base.
Any way to work yourself on. Otis takes this off the toe, the back toe. Otis has 13 stolen bases. I think about the top of this order. Collectively, the speed that Florida has on this team is scary. Skylar Wallace now standing in, 34 stolen bases. That's even hard. It's hard to believe.
Led the SEC with those 34 stolen bags. And has scored a program record 85 runs this year. Hit .714 in the regional last weekend.
You started to rattle off some of those numbers to her, and she looked like a deer in headlights.
She said, had no idea.
I don't even know my numbers.
Yeah.
I don't focus on it. This team doesn't focus on it. All we do is show up and play Gator softball.
So after a 3-pitch out to start the inning, Binford hits a batter and then walks Wallace on 4 pitches, and now the go-ahead run is aboard for the Gators with Jocelyn Erickson in the cleanup spot.
There's nobody more clutch than Jocelyn Erickson. This season, the clutch factor for the sophomore, the SEC Player of the Year, has come up huge in moment after moment for this team. I don't know where that off-speed missed, but I think that that's going to have to be a pitch between both of these arms in Binford and Rothrock that'll have to be figured out.
Erickson beginning her career at Oklahoma, and when she jumped in the portal, the thing she wanted to do the most was catch.
Yeah.
And Tim Walton gave her that opportunity.
There's the off-speed again, elevated just a bit. You start to figure out pretty early what the approach is going to be, the chess match between Binford and this offense. Jocelyn obviously in a 1-1 count, taking an off-speed pitch early.
That gets through. Fair ball. They will wave around Otis. We are tied in Gainesville as Wallace gets under the tag at third. Misses clutch. SEC Player of the Year ties it at 1.
I mean, it's clockwork. It's almost a sure thing at this point. The fact, I mean, that was golfed. That was almost at the ankle of Jocelyn Erickson, and with 2 outs, she's able to wave the barrel, lace this opposite field, and for the speed of Corby Otis and Skylar Wallace, RBI ties up the ballgame.
And now 2 in scoring position for the Gators after the 15th double of the year by Jocelyn Erickson. 79 runs batted in. And quickly 0-2 to Reagan Walsh. This would be a big out for Aaliyah Binford. Remember, Baylor left the bases loaded with 2 outs in the top half of the inning. 0-2. Oh, nasty off speed, just missed. To short, throw home, and now we've got a little rundown with Wallace, but coming over from second is Erickson. And they will get Erickson as Wallace stays put at third. 2 outs, runners at the corners, and that was excellent defense by Presley Pylon at shortstop.
You know, I think viewers at home may look at this play and think, what is going on? But this is textbook softball. You never want to give the routine gimme out at first. You want to apply pressure to the defense. That's why you see an aggressive Skylar Wallace take a charge to home plate, potentially induce a rundown. If she stays in that rundown long enough, you end up at runners at second and third anyway. Unfortunately, that play developed a little quicker, I think, than Florida had planned, but still runners on the corners.
And remember, Presley Pylon played second base last year. Shifted over to short due to the injury to Amber Tovin, who had been the starting shortstop. Go-ahead run, though, still at third base for Katie Kistler.
Such an evenly mixed team. Juniors, sophomores, freshmen, seniors in the starting lineup for Florida.
Only brought back 8 Gators from last year.
And a young pitching staff. I think that was the question early in the year for Tim Walton. Stands in. Was the young staff.
Line drive into the gap in left center field. Kistler gives the Gators the lead. Walsh coming around to score from first base. 3-1 Florida. It's a senior putting Florida on top in the first.
You love this for a senior. You love the fact that Kistler can step in a 2-out opportunity and get the job done. Good hitters see the ball deep. They hit the ball where it's thrown. That is a mature swing that gets the job done. I can't understate the fact that late in postseason too, Matt, the importance of hitting with 2 outs on the board, it's always important. But it's doubly as important at this point in the season. And right now, Florida hitting 1,000 with 2 outs. How about that?
Again, video game-like numbers.
It's crazy.
For the Gators. Second double of the inning. Both have scored runs for a Gator team that has led the nation all year in doubles. And now the freshman Ava Brown has a chance to add to the lead. 1-2 from Binford.
If you haven't figured it out yet, you're going to see a changeup from Binford. She's throwing it often, and this has to be part of Florida's game plan. And continue will have to evolve in the circle for Binford as well.
Oh, got her there with the off speed and gets out of the inning, but not before the Gators. And guess who leads it off? Taylor Strain. who was the defensive MVP for certain for Baylor in their regional in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, without a doubt. Stole a home run from Ole Miss, dead center. You saw that play at home plate, the catch, and then throwing out the go-ahead at home. You live for those moments as an outfielder. I can remember that feeling in outfield of that throw, the tag, the celebration, the connection too with a pitcher in that moment. To have your pitchers back in that type of moment. You're the last line of defense in the outfield.
Keegan Rothrock threw 38 pitches in the first inning. Allowed just one run, stranded, the bases loaded. Working on a third strikeout here with a 2-2. Credit to Baylor, they have not chased early against Rothrock. And that catches the outside corner. Strikeout number 3 for Keegan Rothrock.
Check out the connection there between Jocelyn Erickson and Keegan Rothrock. Keegan Rothrock went on and on about the special relationship that her and Jocelyn Erickson have. Similar personalities. There's this unspoken bond and communication in the middle of games and innings. And this is one of the best receivers in the nation.
There's a quick out number 2 off the bat of Ashlyn Walkendorf. Well, you're right. You know, Rothrock, SEC Freshman of the Year. Jocelyn Erickson, her battery mate, SEC Player of the Year.
What a duo.
But it's the off the field that Rothrock told us is what really helps their chemistry on the field. Back to the top of the order here for Emily Hott, who led off the game with a walk, came around to score. Gave Baylor the 1-run lead early.
I've enjoyed too talking just in the handful of games I've gotten to cover with Florida. Couple combos with Tim Walton about the usage of the transfer portal, and I think he has a really distinct eye and a knack and a sixth sense for athletes in that portal. And he is really honest in his questions and answers about the transfer portal. He's like, I'm not a salesman. Florida softball is Florida softball. And if it fits, it fits. We'll feel it. It'll be a mutual decision for both parties. But typically when you see an athlete in the portal, they're searching for something that they couldn't get somewhere else. And I think that really has played out beautifully for at least, I mean, think about who's on the field right now in Skylar Wallace and Jocelyn Erickson. Think about what those two athletes have done here in a Gator uniform.
How about what Rothrock has done in the second inning? LA, who picked up win number 12 in a row last night with a win over Georgia.
How about Maya Brady last night? Holy cow.
On fire.
Holy cow.
Yeah, if she hits like that again today, it might be two and
a short
out.
Day.
In the 8th spot, the freshman Ariel Kowalewski laces this to deep center field, but back on it in front of the warning track, Taylor Strain. Tough to get a ball behind her. Patrolling center field, 1 down. Presley Stadium, one of the great venues, not only in the SEC, but in college softball. And they have gotten used to hosting super regionals and regionals here.
I think that's the standard, right? Of
Totally.
Tim Walton, what he's done in his 19th season here at Florida. That is the expectation for this program. That is the storied success under his tenure. And You know, another reason I love getting to talk to players is getting to understand their perception and their experience in playing for Tim Walton. Said he's super competitive. I don't think that comes as a surprise. You get that sense when you talk to him that he just has his finger on the pulse of what it takes to win. And that everything's a game. Everything has a point, right? Everything has intention. He keeps it fun, keeps it light. Wallace really dug into the human aspect of playing for Coach Walton. The human comes first. He prioritizes the athlete, the women on this team, and everything outside of that comes second.
That is a strikeout of Mia Williams, the second of the day for Aaliyah Binford.
How about the adjustments for these arms? 1 inning in, we saw a 3 at-bat inning with Rothrock in the circle in the top of the second, and already quick work here for Binford. The changeup still doing what the changeup does.
And the lineup turns over now for Kendra Falby, who has been part of a trip to the Women's College World Series. Has been to Super Regionals before. This is now the 13th time Florida has hosted a Super, but a 1-2-3 inning for Aaliyah Binford. The World Series, they won back-to-back in 2014 and 2015, and they have made 11 trips to the Women's College World Series. Hoping to get back there this year with a team that returns just 8 players from a season ago. And no innings. And that is why we have seen the emergence of Ava Brown, Keegan Rothrock, and as you started to allude to last inning, Aaron, the transfers that Tim Walton has made fit the Gator culture. To second base, Williams a toss to first, 1 down. Let's take a look at the women's lacrosse NCAA championship bracket. Semifinal coverage begins today with Florida taking on Northwestern, 3 Eastern on ESPNU, followed by Boston College and Syracuse. Busy weekend for Florida athletics fans. Govan, a mile-high pop-up to Falby in center. 2 away.
You had asked Skylar Wallace about that decision to come to Florida. You said, why Florida? And she said,
why not Florida?
It was so quick, too.
It was.
Like, the wit was
no
so
hesitation.
there. She said, why not? This place was it for me.
Began her career at Alabama and will go down as one of the greatest Gators of all time. Last
100%.
year's SEC Player of the Year. Was massive for them in the tournament this year and has lit a fire in this Gator offense.
Couple two-way players on both these offenses. You see Binford stepping in. She's in the circle for Baylor. And then you don't see her in the circle today, but Ava Brown, who's hitting for Florida, also a part of that staff for the Gators. She is standing at first base.
1-1. Binford takes this deep left field. Goodbye. Baylor back in it. 3-2 Florida. Third home run of the year for Aaliyah Binford.
How about Binford helping herself out? This is a solo shot that just barely stayed in fair territory. Pull side, you can see she throws the barrel up and around this ball. This is up in the zone, elevated, letter high, and if you're able to keep the barrel on path, that's exactly where you send that pitch. And the importance, Matt, too, if you get a lead off on this inning, if you set the table for a bat like Binford,
you have a chance.
You've got a chance. Out studio for the first time last week together. It was a blast. 64 teams we covered How about it?
I thought we had a long weekend in
Oh,
Tuscaloosa.
so fun though, Matt. It was a blast. So much good softball.
How'd you keep all your notes together?
Piles of papers.
Got it.
My
So,
guy.
so it wasn't all
Just
in the dome.
piles of papers.
You had notes.
We've got some good resources there too. Some great stats, good personnel, good resources on deck.
Good scoop and fire to first by Casey West. 5 straight retired now for Binford, who gave Baylor a run back in the top half of the inning with a solo homer.
What stuck out to you last weekend? So you were in Tuscaloosa. You covered Alabama.
Yeah, I think Alabama really needed that offensive explosion they had in the regional final against Southeastern. Run ruling the Lady Lions after they had really struggled offensively. So that sets up a really interesting super to me in Knoxville against Tennessee.
I would agree with that. And I think the question mark right now for Tennessee is the offense, right? As a team hitting under 300, can their offense continue to show up and support their pitching in the circle? There was so much drama last weekend as well with Omaha, with Liberty.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw some incredible games come down to literally the last out as the deciding factor.
Scorched up the middle by Skylar Wallace, who was aboard for the second time today. Yeah, you know, some of the other regionals that stood out to me, Georgia winning on a walk-off in Game 7 against Liberty.
1 out left. Literally came down to their last out.
And Omaha taking Missouri to extra innings.
Yes.
Tigers had to fight to come out of their own regional. Now they host Duke this weekend in Columbia.
The SEC representation deep into this postseason has been pretty impressive. And to think that 2 teams, there's the 35th stolen base for Skylar Wallace. Train still rolling. OU and Texas are joining that party next season.
Yeah, it's going to be a beast of a league.
Holy cow.
As if it isn't already.
Already a juggernaut, only gets stronger.
Speaking of juggernauts, here is Jocelyn Erickson, who doubled and drove in the tying run in her first at bat. Now has the speedy Wallace in scoring position.
Yeah, you've seen that Binford is fearless with the changeup, throwing it in hitters' counts. That's a 2-0 change for the call. She plants the seed of doubt so well with that speed. Back-to-back off speeds. This is one on the outer half. We've seen the location of this pitch vary for Binford, and it's the low and away that hasn't been called.
That misses to Erickson, so now 2 on and 1 out for the Gators.
Brittany Newman, you saw standing in the mouth of the dugout. That's the associate head coach at Baylor, 21st season. It's a pitching coach. She had a heck of a career, a 3-time All-American at LSU. She's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Got inducted back in 2022. I think her pitch calling is interesting. You're already starting to see it develop. She loves the off speed. That's something that Glenn Moore told us. She will not be scared to throw it in any count. She'll throw it back to back.
Walsh, pop up left side, foul territory, caught on the run by Presley Pylon, 2 away.
How important that speed is, too, an off speed against a team like Florida. One of the hottest offenses in the nation right now. Without the off speed, you're playing with fire with a team like this.
Top 5 in the country in home runs are the Gators with 88 as a team. And in Katie Kistler's last at bat, a double off the wall in left center to drive in 2, giving Florida the lead in the bottom of the first.
And we're approaching now the second time through this order against Binford. And again, my hitting brain too, Matt, is starting to wonder, when are we going to see Florida just sit off speed the entire way? Because you're seeing it about 70% of the time right now. And that's that cat and mouse game, right? Through 7 innings. The chess move of, okay, you see Gators start to make an adjustment on that pitch at the plate, and then all of a sudden, Brittany Newman pulls back the usage of the off speed. That's the back and forth here. Two changeups have collected both strikes in this at bat, and both right down the pipe.
2-2, 2 out, 2 on.
Katie Kistler, a senior, a lot of experience at the plate.
Lays off. Appeal to third. Susan Eads said she did not go around. And the count full.
Even that take is giving information to Binford. The fact that Katie Kistler was drastically out front on the front leg sends a message.
Gets her with a 3-2 strikeout. Stranding 2 for the Gators. Your offense has been so hot. Katie Kistler, not so much until this game. She was 5 for her last 41 coming to the plate. A 2-run double. What have you liked from her couple of at-bats to start?
Well, she obviously had a good at-bat there, struck out on the change again. But, I mean, she's been consistent all year. She's driving in runs. When you can get that production, you know, the RBIs from the whole lineup, it just really allows you the opportunity not to be perfect in the field and score more runs.
Coach, I've loved the connection between Rothrock and Erickson. Just this battery, the communication that they have. What do you see on and off the field between these two?
Well, you know, you pay attention to little things, but I think for the most part, Jocelyn, you know, treats Keegan very well. She communicates clearly with her. She's not afraid to tell her how to get better, and she's also not afraid to, you know, give her a hug and, you know, tell her, hey, you know, good job, you're working really hard, and just maybe do a little bit of this or do a little of that. I think they do truly have a connection.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you. Go Gators.
Well, you started to talk about it a couple of innings ago. Just Keegan Rothrock telling us how much it has helped her transition as a freshman, pitching the amount of innings she has, having somebody like Erickson, the SEC Player of the Year, as her battery mate.
Makes the difference. I think, too, just from a coverage standpoint, TV, we talk a lot about pitching. We just do, right? There's a lot of plate appearances. The ball's in their hands a lot. But you can't understate the importance of who's receiving that arm. And Jocelyn Erickson is one of the best in the nation. And you will hear Tim Walton die on that hill. This is the best catcher in college softball right now.
And maybe one of the best first basemen in
Yeah.
college softball, according to Tim Walton. We just don't get to see it a whole lot because she catches almost every day.
I think you could say that about a lot of individuals on this field, too, is the diversity, right? The depth of how many different ways they can be used. Seen some players pop around. We talked about Ava Brown over at first. You'll also see her likely in the circle this weekend. Awalewski moving around.
2-2. Sydney Colazzos fouls it back. Colazzos is 2 for 2 today. This is cut off in the alley by Otis, and we'll keep Colazzos to a single.
This is the spice I'm talking about. I mean, there's a grit that is in place in the box. The way that she stands, the way that she takes up real estate in the batter's box, the hacks that she takes. There is an unapologetic nature about how she approaches this game between the white lines.
Batting .625 in the postseason.
She just won't be denied.
No. And represents the tying run aboard for Zadie LaValle. And that's a big out for Keegan Rothrock. Popped up into the mitt of Jocelyn Erickson, one away.
Cardinal sin in our game. It's always important to get that sack bunt down, but at this point in the season, I mean, we're talking about some of the final games of the year and the importance, right? The pressure in that moment to get the ball on the ground. It's as big of a bunt as you have had all season.
Oh, 1 to Taylor Strain, who struck out looking back in the second inning. One of 4 Rothrock strikeouts today.
And too, Matt, you and I have talked about this with an offense like Florida. When you get an opportunity facing Florida to put a runner in scoring position, or you have an opportunity with 2 outs to score, you have to cash in against a team like this. You can't afford not to take those chances.
And they did not cash in with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the first inning. Got a solo homer last inning by Aaliyah Binford. And an RBI single by Aaliyah Binford in the first. She has plated both runs today for Baylor. 0-2 to Strain. Wallace off the mark with her throw. Gets the lead runner Cavazos. 2 down as Strain reaches on a fielder's choice. And that passes the bat to the 9-hitter Ashlyn Walkendorf.
You can't deny the athleticism of Skylar Wallace at shortstop, doing her best to cut across the field. That's a off-foot throw that's just wide for Ava Brown at first.
And knowing the speed of Taylor Strain.
Absolutely.
Only way they were going to get 2 there is if Wallace did it herself.
To rush the throw, yeah. You hear the communication there? Like that's a leader. That's expected at shortstop, but more than anything, that is who Skylar Wallace is on the diamond. We had a chance to ask her teammates what it was like to play with an athlete, have a teammate like Skylar Wallace, a vocal leader, a leader by example. Nobody's going to leave the field earlier than Skylar Wallace. She's putting in the work.
And all season has had a freshman third baseman next to her in Ariel Kowalewski, who had never been an everyday third baseman. And you asked Ariel, what's it like playing next to Wallace? And she said, she has made my transition to this position in the college game so much smoother. Runner goes, throw down from Erickson is in time. SEC coach from Baylor, Glenn Moore. Coach, your team in years past has gone on the road and won Super Regionals as the away team. In fact, you've done it 3 times. How much of that did you communicate with this group here in 2024?
Oh, we talked about every one of them. It's kind of what we expect. It's hard to land a regional, and you've got to be able to play on the road. Percentages are not in your favor. The predictions are never going to be on your favor, but you got to feed off of that, and I think we do a pretty good job of that.
Coach, you have such a talented group of seniors this season. Can you talk about what it's been like to coach this group of women?
Yeah, it's easier to coach. I mean, they do a lot of the coaching for you. Whenever 2 years ago we had 1 or 2 seniors and 1 or 2 juniors, and we did a lot more coaching then. Now that group's up to the area where they can do the coaching for you, so things flow a lot smoother, and certainly in the heat of the battle, they're handling the pressure much better.
Coach, appreciate your time. Thanks.
So true. So true. The leadership on the field right now, there are 5 seniors in the starting 9 today here in game 1 of the Super Regional. The rest are juniors. This is a seasoned team. This is a team with a lot of experience that knows the expectation.
And it's a Baylor team that has battled all year. Talked about all the injuries that they faced, but in addition to that, Aaron, they started the year 1-8 in Big 12 play. And that was after the team got together in the preseason and said, we want to host a regional. Mile-high pop-up, foul territory, and Govan is there, one down.
Well, on that, this team starting 1-8, and reading a couple interviews with Glenn Moore, he said it really was up to this senior class to get this team in a headspace and to get this group refocused on the days ahead. And he said, I don't know a lot of teams that could go through what we've been through this season and then be where we are right now, today. A lot of teams would, and you liked this quote, fold up like a cheap tent. That's what I said. But not this group, not Baylor.
The turning point for them was sweeping UCF and then sweeping BYU. This was right on the heels of that 1-8 start. And it put a regional bid right back in play. And for much of the year, they have had the #1 strength of schedule in the country. Still in the top 10, outside of that #1 spot. Diving play at second by West, and won't get it there in time. Kowalewski beats it out for an infield single. The speed of the Gators.
It's a good effort by West. Keeping this ball on the infield. Almost has the throw in time. Just far enough, too far away to have kind of that shovel throw from the ground.
Kowalewski now riding a 6-game hit streak. And came to Florida with her most natural position as a catcher, thrust into the third base position this year as a freshman. And just loves playing next to Skylar Wallace. But how about her bat at the bottom of the order in the 8th spot? Has gone 4 for 8 now in the postseason.
Yeah, batting .317 coming into this weekend. 7 bombs on the year. Had a little struggle, I think, early in SEC play, and I can relate to that. I remember that feeling as a freshman. The difference.
Fair tear. No, they're going to call it foul.
Yeah, I figured that was on the other side of the white line. The thing about conference play, though, my goodness, SEC, it feels like postseason every single weekend, and that's what she expressed to us. That was a lot of pressure as a freshman back. Learning how to sustain that type of pressure every single weekend.
While also studying.
Oh, yes.
To be a material science engineer.
Which we absolutely knew exactly what that meant the second she said it. Not. Pretty impressive to hear her talk about her studies. And we did ask her to define it for us. They study materials to help make systems more efficient. Didn't you know that? Come on.
I still don't know what that means.
You're like, I still need further explanation. Pretty impressive group here.
Benford gets a strikeout, her 4th, and a big one with Kowalewski at first base.
Low with the knees. Heck of a location. This bites, falls off the table, late break on this pitch. And the fact that Benford can tunnel those 2 speeds and locations makes her untouchable.
Right back to the circle from Kendra Falby.
Game ending run, roll, run last night. just didn't look like the Seminole team that we are used to seeing, specifically in postseason. That's a program that typically lights up this time of the year.
Oklahoma trying to do what no team has ever done.
Yeah.
Win 4 national titles in a row. Pretty remarkable to play with the target on your back.
There's not a larger target, I don't think.
You know, this Baylor team was the only team to hand Oklahoma a loss last year. They returned 21 players from that team, and Glenn Moore was quick to remind us
He sure was.
of that feat.
Their roads looked a little bit different this season. A little bit different.
A little more battle tested.
Agreed. I think it's a reminder, though, and you hear Patty Gasso say this all the time, we're human. This group is human.
It's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they
Forgot
are.
about that. When you win 71 games in a row,
Yeah.
people start to just expect that out of you. And a loss feels seismic.
You and I had that conversation.
Yeah.
You'd ask me my opinion on Oklahoma, and I said my expectations are high, and I guess that is the story, right? The fact that this team doing what they've done feels like an off year.
Quickly 2 down in the 5th here in Gainesville. Both outs to Skylar Wallace. And the base is clear for Presley Pylon.
Think too about who they faced this season. I think that Texas is without a doubt the #1 team in the nation right now. They get for the first time in program history the #1 seed. I think altogether from a complete team perspective, Matt, that team has it all. Pitching, hitting, defense is the only area where I've seen them beat themselves at times. But as far as a complete outing with all the puzzle pieces, Texas has it.
Searching for their first ever national title. So are the Baylor Bears. In the Super Regional for the first time since 2017. How about 3 straight outs by Skylar Wallace in the 5th and a 1. And Baylor, as we've talked about, used to being the underdog this time of year, going on the road and beating national seeds in the Super 3 times before.
What Corby Otis has done this year is pretty remarkable. I think I could probably say that about one of every players on this Florida team at this point, but specifically those top 4. The speed of Falby, the consistency of Otis, Wallace, the clutch factor of Jocelyn Erickson, even going into the 5-hole with Reagan Walsh. In Corby Otis, a .463 season. She started every single game this year with 8 bombs, 12 doubles. I say it already, it's video game numbers. It's hard to believe.
Well, she was certainly in the running with teammate Jocelyn Erickson for SEC Player of the Year. You mentioned her batting average. That's 4th in the NCAA, while leading the country in on-base percentage and walks. Takes the 3-2, deep left field, at the wall, and gone for Corby Otis. 4-2 Gators.
This is one of the hardest workers on the team, the most prepared mentally, physically. Can we look at the back half of this stance? Look at the back leg. That's like 4 inches off of the dirt. The fact that she can go down to get that pitch, throws the barrel, trusts the backside. That's a specific fundamental here at Florida that is so prominent. Think of the swing of Francesca Anea, lowering the back knee, almost touching the ground to go down and barrel up a ball. Nobody does it better than Corby Otis.
First team All-American last year at Louisville. First team All-SEC this year at Florida. And one of those major transfer portal pickups for Tim Walton, as Skylar Wallace was a handful of years ago coming over from Alabama. And this is murderer's row for Florida. Otis, Wallace, Erickson, Walsh, the do-ups in this inning. And the 3-0 to Wallace. Binford has to be careful here to keep Baylor within striking distance.
Yeah, so choosy, so precise here with pitch location, a 3-1 count. And Wallace not scared to take her walks.
Diving
Wow.
play in center by Taylor Strain, stealing an extra base hit for Skylar Wallace.
The defensive prowess, Matt, of Strain in center field is incredible. We saw it on display in regionals, stolen home run against Ole Miss, the clutch throw to home plate to maintain a tie ball game, and a diving grab against one of the best bats in the nation of Skylar Wallace.
And keeps the bases clear for Jocelyn Erickson.
It's huge.
Erickson 1 RBI away from tying Megan Bush's single season record here at Florida of 80 RBI set in 2011. Just a monster year coming over from Oklahoma. She primarily played in the DP spot. A little bit at first base, but has been the everyday catcher and one of the most elite run stoppers in the country. Hitters count. And now full to Erickson. Erickson, shallow center. 2 gone in the 5th. The Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. Action beginning Thursday, noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2024 Women's College World Series, go to NCAA.com, home to all 90 NCAA championships. Base is clear, 2 out for Reagan Walsh. Gators with a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 5th. Game 1 of our Gainesville Super Regional.
A 1-2 count right here to Walsh. You got to know the changeup's in effect as well to protect the off speed.
Walsh off the glove of Cavazos at third, and the inning continues for the Gators.
It's a tough break. See the watch? It almost looks like a watch on the wrist of Cavazos. So that is a communication device on pitch calling. So every single defensive player knows exactly the pitch that's approaching, and right there, that's an off-speed pitch. You got to know at third base, there's a good likelihood you may see an early swing wrapped around out in front of a changeup. You can see her tap her chest, like, my bad, right? She's got to have an idea that there's a good shot. She may see a hot shot pulled to her side of the field. Just tips the glove.
Avery Gels comes into pinch run at first base for Reagan Walsh. Katie Kistler down 0-1 at the plate. 2-run double and a strikeout in the game for Kistler.
There's a lot of talk happening from the stadium right now on pitch call.
This is an intimate ballpark.
This is an intimate, yeah, it's all around the strike zone.
And that caught a piece of Kistler, but it almost looked like she leaned into that one a little bit to me. Instead, it's 2 on and 2 out after the second hit batter of the game by Aaliyah Binford.
2 outs on the board. I am shocked. I agree with you, Matt, that we're not seeing a potential. I don't even see contact made right there. Right now, there is no movement from the Baylor dugout. I don't think that this is going to get challenged. Not even a conversation.
Well, and Zadie LaValle, the starting catcher for the Bears, didn't have any argument.
Yeah. Watch the elbow. Okay,
Just
there is
clipped
contact made, yeah, but it does look like a little bit of a lean into the strike zone with the elbow. That is
Brown to short, long throw by Pylon, erases an error and a hit by pitch. Baylor chip. In the 6th, Bears trailing Florida 4-2. Leading it off with their hottest bat all year, Shaylin Govan. Leads the team in hits, walks, batting average, and RBI. And can change the dynamic of a game with one swing of the bat.
asked Govan too about the preparation mentally to come into this weekend. She leads the offense in almost every category. Mentioned she has a sports psychologist that assists her in that mental preparation.
High pop up right side of the infield. Mia Williams will put it away, one down. Aaliyah Binford, the only Bear to drive in a run today. She has two, including this solo homer in the third.
Helping herself out. Got the start in the circle and also puts a charge in the batter's box. The first home run for Baylor. And the importance right now for the insurance runs for the Gators too. I mean, this is a close ball game. Could change in a single swing.
Binford had one home run all year coming into the NCAA tournament. She now has two in the tournament, including that one back in the third. Battling against the freshman Keegan Rothrock.
Binford had a grand slam in game one against Louisiana. It was one of her 3 home runs now this season. That curveball, it's a little bit slower than the rise, mid to low 60s. That's been a pitch that Rothrock has spent the most time on this season. Team that's, or the pitch that's gotten the most adjustments.
Up the middle into center field. 3 for 3 day for Aaliyah Binford.
Bears number 22, Anna Watson.
And now the game-tying run at the plate. And Anna Watson batting in the 5-hole for the Baylor Bears. Into the gap, right center field. Chasing it is Falby. 2 outs in the 6th.
The speed and the range of Falby, you can't really even quantify. She's also one of those hitters too, like home to first quick, but when you see her round the bases, she is a pair of legs that gets faster the longer she runs. Really fun to get a chance to talk to Falby, the dancer of the team, the spark plug of this team. She said, I love to pull people out of their shell. And I think in her career, she said, I really started to blossom and come into my own when I decided that the whole point of this is to have fun.
Was one of those 8 returners for the Gators coming back from last season. Got together with Skylar Wallace at the end of last year after losing in the Palo Alto Regional and said, not again.
Did not want to feel that again. A lot of discussions between Skylar, her, and head coach Tim Walton about what do we have to do? What does this program have to do? What type of leaders do we need to be to return to Gator softball?
Colazzos, deep fly ball left field. Back on it, Otis, and makes the catch on the warning track. Leah Binford back in the circle. Ariel Kowalewski leads it off.
The importance for Binford here to really attack the bottom half of this strike zone. 8, 9, and 1 coming up before the meat of the order here for Florida. And 2, just the opportunities dwindling for Baylor to chip away at a 2-run deficit to try and silence a Florida offense right now in the bottom of the 6th.
One out in the 6th. Let's take a look at the men's lacrosse inside for Mia Williams. 1 out, bases clear in the 6th. Gators riding an 11-game win streak. Wilkie batting .276 this year. Has done a great job coming off the bench, providing a spark. And Tim Walton told us we need to find a way to get her more at bats in the Super Regional. Here she is pinch hitting in the 6th. Tim Walton's rocking the stunner shades at third base
I love
today.
them. I love the statement with the shades.
Backhanded at third. Strong throw across the diamond by Colazzos. 2 gone. Well, before we came back with our interview of Tim Walton in the 3rd inning, we asked him, how you doing down there, Coach? He said it's hot.
Both of them said that.
Yeah.
It's a little hot, a little toasty, but at least we do not have any precipitation.
He said, we don't say that 4-letter word here in Gainesville. R-A-I-N. Not here.
That is definitely nature of the beast here in Florida. I think we're going to be pretty blessed this weekend.
I will take hot and sunny.
Agreed.
All day.
Over a rain delay, yes, I would agree with
Kendra Falby at the plate with 2 outs, looking for her first hit of the afternoon. A joy to talk to on Thursday coming into this tournament. You referenced it last inning. She's one of those players on this team that keeps it light, keeps it fun, while still challenging her teammates when they need to be challenged. Takes the 1-2 into right field. Charging in is Watson, and a 1-2-3 inning for Aaliyah Binford. For Baylor, order against the SEC Freshman of the Year in the circle, Keegan Rothrock.
SEC Freshman of the Year who you're facing, and then the SEC Player of the Year receiving that arm. The best battery duo right now in the conference.
LaValle, slow roller to second base. It's Williams. A shuffle to first, 1 down. Rothrock named yesterday to the top 3 National Freshman of the Year finalist list. And deservedly so, has been exceptional, particularly in the postseason, and has been the horse that the Gators have ridden. On a fly ball to center field. Falby there, 2 gone.
You make a good point there. Regular season matters, right? SEC or conference play matters, but to me, the real acid test of a young arm is what can you do once you make the dance? Feel that pressure for the first time, and she has been as good as it gets.
Here is Ashlyn Walkendorf with 2 outs. In the postseason, Rothrock, 20 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, 3 runs allowed. One out away from a Game 1 win. Florida looking to become just the 11th team in program history to pick up their 50th win of the season. Sitting on 49 right now, 1 strike away. The 2-2 from Keegan Rothrock. Is a strikeout. Gators take Game 1. NCAA, who picked up win number 12 in a row last night with a win over Georgia.
How about Maya Brady last night? Holy cow.
On fire.
Holy cow.
Yeah, if she hits like that again today, it might be
Maybe
two
a
and
short
out.
day.
In the 8 spot, the freshman Ariel Kowalewski laces this to deep center field, but back on it in front of the warning track, Taylor Strain. Tough to get a ball behind her. Patrolling center field, 1 down.
Number 11, Mia Williams.
Presley Stadium, one of the great venues, not only in the SEC, but in college softball. And they have gotten used to hosting super regionals and regionals here.
I think that's the standard, right? Of
Totally.
Tim Walton, what he's done in his 19th season here at Florida. That is the expectation for this program. That is the storied success under his tenure. And, you know, another reason I love getting to talk to players is getting to understand their perception and their experience in playing for Tim Walton. Said he's super competitive. I don't think that that comes as a surprise. You get that sense when you talk to him that he just has his finger on the pulse of what it takes to win. And that everything's a game. Everything has a point, right? Everything has intention. He keeps it fun, keeps it light. Wallace really dug into the human aspect of playing for Coach Walton. The human comes first. He prioritizes the athlete, the women on this team, and everything outside of that comes second.
That is a strikeout of Mia Williams, the second of the day for Aaliyah Binford.
How about the adjustments for these arms? 1 inning in, we saw a 3 at-bat inning with Rothrock in the circle in the top of the second, and already quick work here for Binford. The changeup still doing what the changeup does.
And the lineup turns over now for Kendra Falby, who has been part of a trip to the Women's College World Series. Has been to Super Regionals before. This is now the 13th time Florida has hosted a Super, but a 1-2-3 inning for Aaliyah Binford.